Go ahead and share your thinking. What are you noticing?
That it says Lux go-kart, and it doesn't look like a go-kart at
Yeah,
all.
it doesn't. His name is actually Luke. He's one of our main characters, so it's Luke's go-kart. So go ahead and get yourself ready for reading. What do you do to get ready for reading?
Looking at the pictures.
Okay.
It looks like they're teaching about kind of air,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like everyone started to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like the boy is talking to the teacher.
What is our main character's name?
Luke.
Luke, yeah.
And everyone's cheering, it looks like.
Okay.
It looks like they're doing a course, and that's the go-kart. Go-kart rides. And it looks like someone's going on to the go-kart.
Okay. What are you thinking there?
And then it looks like she broke the go-kart because he's like, oh no.
So what kind of story is this? What are you noticing at the end of the story? What kind of story is this?
A fiction story.
What do you mean by that? Is it a particular fiction story?
It's not a real story.
Actually, this is a realistic fiction story, so that it could really happen, but it's not real. So you're right. It's not real, but it's called realistic fiction because actually it could happen to somebody. Okay, so that's important to know. So one of the things we do when we get ready for reading is we don't necessarily have to go through the whole book now. We can just think as a reader that this is a realistic fiction book or a fiction book, right? We have characters. We know our main character's who.
Luke.
Yep, and we have a setting change. The setting changes, I mean. So where are they here?
School.
Yep, and then our setting changes later on. Where are they? Where are they here?
They're outside.
Yeah, they're at a go-kart race, right? Yep. And then we know in stories there's typically an event or a problem. What do we know our problem or event is going to be about?
I think the go-kart breaks down.
Yeah, it has something to do with a go-kart, right? So you're ready to read now. So let's read Luke's go-kart. And let's see what happens with Luke's go-kart. Okay? The other thing I wanted to remind you is in stories, there's a narrator that tells part of the story, right? And then the characters talk. So this first part, the narrator, the author is going to tell us about some things. And the author does that throughout, but then there's also the characters talking, okay?
Okay.
All right, so go ahead. Luke
and Andrew listen carefully as Miss Bell talked to the class about motors and engines. Most of machines that we use around our homes have a motor that makes them work, she said. And we're going to least
What are you thinking there? Where's the tricky part? Okay. What do you mean?
I read the end of this,
Okay.
but it didn't.
What are they talking about here?
Motors.
Yeah, and who's talking?
The teacher.
Yeah. Okay, does that help?
List. of them because it looks like this is like a list.
Yeah, so you were thinking about the story. That's a strategy that we use as we think about the story to help us solve, don't we? All right, this character's Kylie now. Can we see what Kylie does?
Kylie puts her hand up. Our wishing machine has a motor, she says, and so has our refrigerator, said Zoe. Of course. How, when you open it, how would a light be there if it doesn't have a motor?
You're really
Well, it
making a
doesn't
connection, aren't you?
It doesn't really have a motor. It has like electricity.
Let's see what they say.
We have a motor in our lawnmower. It has mower in it, so it has a motor. Does. Said Megan.
That's her name, Megan.
Luke smiled. We just got a new lawnmower, he said. And my dad has made our old one into a go-kart for me.
What do we know?
Luke has a go-kart.
Yeah. And how did we get to that? Like, what were they having a conversation about in this classroom?
About the motors.
Yeah. What do we know about go-karts?
They have a motor.
Yeah. Let's see what the class decides to talk about now.
Everyone turns to look at Luke. Have you really got your own go-kart? Asked Megan. With a motor in it? Can you drive it, Luke? Asked Kyla. Yes, said Luke. It doesn't go very fast, but I can drive it around the backyard. My dad holds on to it with a long rope. It's a great go-kart, said Andrew. His dad pulls the cord to make the motor start. I had to ride on it. I'd love to have a ride, said Megan. So would I? Said Zoe and Kyla together. Yes, Luke, said the children. Can we see your go-kart?
What are you thinking after you read those pages?
Everyone wants to ride it and everyone wants to see it.
How would you describe all those friends?
Kind of jealous.
You think they're jealous?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think that?
Because they're like, can I ride it? Can I?
Are they jealous or are they curious? Which
They're
one?
curious.
Maybe more curious, right? Let's see what happens. I'll read a little bit more.
I have an idea, said Miss Bell. As you know, our school fair is beginning. Help this Saturday. Luke, do you think your father would bring the go-kart to the fair?
Can you try that again? Start at the top. Something didn't sound right.
I have an idea, said Miss Bell. As you know, our school our school fair is beginning. Held this Saturday.
What are you thinking there? Does
It
that still
doesn't
sound
make-
kind of funny?
No.
Try that word. Bring your finger in and try that word. Put your finger underneath that and say that word right here.
Being held this.
Does that sound funny to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't talk like that, do we? We would say our school fair is this Saturday, right? We don't say
Yeah.
our school fair is being held, right?
Yeah.
When we think of holding or holding something, we think of holding something in our hand. They're
Yeah.
saying it's being held. That means it's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so the language is a little different there.
Or it means like someone, like if someone is late, if it can't happen Sunday, it would happen Saturday.
Yeah, it's happening there, right? Okay. So the kids decide to go and he brings his go-kart to the fair, okay?
Okay.
So let's turn to this fair part now. On Saturday morning, go ahead.
The children lined up to have a ride on the go-kart. Luke
Bring your finger in if you need to keep your
Luke's
spot.
dad showed them how the
So
turning wheel turned on the front wheel.
So let's go back to this word. Okay. Do you know that sometimes the word before a noun like wheel is describing the wheel? So how would they be describing this wheel?
It turns it on.
Yeah, what is that called? A
Steering wheel.
Yeah, so that word is steering wheel.
I thought they meant like this.
Nah, yeah. So a lot of times you can use that as a strategy. The word before that is describing it. They're describing it as the steering wheel, okay? And it turned the front wheels. Go ahead and start here.
He told them that the accelerator
I'm going to ask you to how would you break that word? This is a long word. How would you break that to solve it? Can you show me where you would break it? Here, I'm going to write it on here. And then you show me with the marker where you would break that word, okay? I'm going to write it quickly here. So go ahead and mark where you would break that. You can use that marker, yep. Put some lines where you would break it to solve it. Okay, so how might you solve that now? I'm putting another mark there. All right, so you can stop. That's good. Now I'm going to ask you a question before we try to sound this word. What do you think the author's trying to tell us here? What does this word mean? If you could put a word in there, what would you put?
It goes not fast.
Okay, so let's see. He told them that the blank made the go-kart go faster. What word would you put in there?
The motor.
You would put the motor in there, right? So that's good. So that's a strategy you can be thinking about. You know that word motor. Now, do you know another word that might be connected to motor? And maybe you don't. This might be a new word for you, but the cool thing as a reader is you knew they were talking about something with the motor there. This word is called the accelerator. Okay, the accelerator. Have you ever heard that word before?
Nope.
Yeah, so the strategy you want to do when you're not sure of the word and it's hard to break it, you want to think, what word would I put in there, right? And you said motor, and that's pretty close. Now we have to think of words that are connected to motor. This is a new word for you. It's called accelerator, okay? You're putting accelerator equals motor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's good thinking. Okay, we're going to stop there for a second, okay?